Hello everybody, my name's James, welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 33 Deadline stream, and it's live over the next 56 minutes or so. We'll try and answer as many of your FPL dilemmas as possible ahead of the 6 PM UK time Gameweek 33 deadline. Many of you know I hate Friday deadlines, bloody hell, imagine a midweek one. Talking of which, just reminded me, better do this, haven't I? Yo Serge, I just started the deadline stream. Remember, yeah, it's 6 PM UK time deadline. Don't miss it. Bye. Let me take you through the graphics on screen before I go through your questions. So, those who listened to the main pod yesterday will know I was very much looking at rolling a transfer. But the image of Bruno Fernandes last night, sitting stricken on a sofa with protective boot and crutches, leaning on the sofa with his leg raised, prompted me to consider if I should consider selling him. One of my great fears when I got him was I'd be stuck with him. Did I have an excuse to get rid of him? Actually, what I saw against Forest, I didn't particularly want to get rid of him, but it was an easy way back to Mo Salah for me, and it may have been the transfer that I made at the weekend anyway. So I decided to do it. Salah's in for Fernandes. I line up this week with double Chelsea defence of Kepa and Chilwell, Trippier and Botman, double Newcastle defence. Salah, excuse me, Rashford, Mitoma and McAllister, more on him in a second. Grealish, Captain Haaland, Watkins on the bench, Raya, Tony, I don't like that, Luke Shaw and Rico Henry. Those who are eagle-eyed may already notice that I've got Tony ahead of McAllister on the benching dilemmas. If you ask me between those two, I'm generally going to advise you to play Ivan Tony. The difference for me is I'm going double Chelsea defence. And even though I think McAllister will probably play deeper against Forest tomorrow, as De Zerbi has confirmed that Buonete, which no one knows if that's the correct pronunciation, but probably win a Ballon d'Or in a couple of years because Brighton are so good at finding kids from South America, I'm going to play him over Tony. Purely because I've got double Chelsea defence. Doesn't mean you have to do that. Like I said, general advice between the two would be play Tony over McAllister if you had that dilemma. Below that, you'll see my top 10 captaincy picks for the game week. Unfortunately, I do think it's clear for Haaland, despite the fact they're playing the team that's top of the league. I mean, it's a crapshoot between the rest in terms of who would be a good pick. I actually think Isak at Everton would probably be best of the rest. For those deciding which defender to play this week, it probably doesn't matter. Something very rare on the correct score predictions you'll see to the left. I've predicted every single team to score this week. Don't go down the bookies and put a bet on because it won't happen. But that's what I've predicted. I generally think, looking at every game individually, I think every team will score. Now that'll probably be wrong. Probably everyone will score bar Tottenham. Right at the bottom of the screen, you'll see next 5 fixtures for all 20 teams running across the grey bar at the bottom. Blue fixtures indicate a double game week. The FDR is from FPL's website. So if you don't agree with it, take it up with them. And above that, but below me, you'll see the benching dilemmas on screen. And just to show it's not a Man City shirt, it's actually a Tottenham shirt. Where 2 players are put together and the player with the tick is the preferred choice to start, and they run in order. So I would pick, if you've got the following dilemmas: Gundogan over Martinelli, Martinelli over Fernandes, Fernandes over March, March over Tony, Tony over Jesus, Jesus over McAllister, McAllister over Maddison, Maddison over Chilwell, Chilwell over Eze, Eze over Estupinan, Estupinan over Mings, Mings over Botman, Botman over Shaw, Shaw over Castagne, Castagne over Gay, Gay over me, and the keepers, and a lot of you have got the dilemma this week. I've gone Kepa over Raya. Some will prefer it the other way, and it's perfectly reasonable. Still, I don't know if he's going to play or not. I think he probably will, and I'd start him. So Steele over Kepa, Kepa over Johnston, Johnston over Raya, Raya over Everson. That will continue to rotate during the duration of the stream. There's every chance the question you've asked may be answered on screen. If that's the case, please do the courtesy of deleting your question. Also, quick plug. After this stream, 6:30 p.m. UK time, Clayton Fernandez from the AFC Bite Size podcast is joining me for the People's Poll podcast. That will premiere at 6:30 p.m. UK time in an hour 20 minutes for a very light-hearted, part serious discussion on a combined Manchester City and Arsenal 11. We decided to put it out after the deadline so you could focus now on FPL. Let's get into the questions. JP said, you love a question, don't you, mate? Says, hi, mate. Enjoyed your preferred Spurs lineup tactics versus Newcastle talk. Ever thought about doing your badges? Cost too much, genuinely. Mike says, hi, James. Would you do Bruno to KDB this week from -4? Will be priced out of it by tomorrow, in which case I'd have to go Grealish instead if Bruno is out. KDB could be a great differential next game week. He could, but I couldn't justify paying that price for him over Grealish. Genuinely. If you're looking for a Man City differential because you don't want to go Grealish, I'd rather you went Gundogan. Honestly. JP says, what do you think Man United 120 minutes and the Spurs shocker does to the Spurs United game? Bruno injury plus Rashford doesn't look great. Nothing, mate. Did you watch Tottenham? It's 4 days gap for Manchester United between the Sunday game and Thursday. So plenty of time for recovery. They wouldn't have done a lot of work on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, tomorrow they'll do the real business, get themselves ready for the game tomorrow. I don't think extra time on Sunday has any relevance. Ayub says, hi James, good luck this game with you two, mate. JP says start 2 at a Chilwell, Botman or a Stupinan. Also Grealish or Saka. Grealish is on the top 10 captaincy picks as preference, so that'll answer that one for you. The other 3, I believe, are all on the benching dilemmas checks. Yep, they are. You'll find your answers there. John Harrison says, Harris is start Isak or McAllister. I think remove Haaland from the game. I think Isak is the best captaincy choice this week. There you go. JP says, do you think Brighton players are starting to gas out with their additional fixtures? Are they a trap? Brighton have got Nottingham Forest, double, Everton, double. Okay. Sure. They might be gassing out. On what basis? What are we basing that on? The fact that they drew 0-0 with Manchester United a week after they went to Chelsea and battered them and won 2-1. Nah, they're fine, mate. JP says, Mac 10 to turn into Mac 6 now. Buonanotte starting. Should we sell him? Look at another Brighton asset. Look, I think March and Mitoma would be the two best to go in midfield, but I don't have the luxury of be taking hits for that personally. So yes, I do think McAllister will probably start deeper. For those who've just joined in a little late and gone, James, you've got Tony above McAllister on the bench in dilemma. Yep, and I would play Tony or a similar player over McAllister this week, but I've gone double Chelsea defence, so I've gone all in on it, if you will. Donald D says, hi James, thanks for the great content. Start one from Lindelof or a Kanji. Come on people, hit the like button. That's a tough one. I don't think I ever keep clean sheet, if I'm totally honest. Lindelof was outstanding on Sunday, by the way, as discussed on the pod yesterday. He's a definite starter. I think Akanji highly likely to start for Manchester City, but probably not quite so definite. He probably got a little more likelihood of an Akanji goal, so I'd probably go Akanji. But I do think Arsenal will score tomorrow. I really do. And I discuss, as you'll hear with Clayton later, I think we discuss it on the pod. I think they'll score first, just to make shit really interesting. But I think it could be wild. FPL Invincible says, hi James, do you think a -4 hit is worth selling one of Saka or Martinelli to Rashford or Grealish this week as preparation for 34? Would do that move next week anyway. Probably not. I think the general advice on the Arsenal attacking assets would be play them, particularly them two, Martinelli and Saka. I think play them. No, probably not. If so, Rashford. But I just think the information will be more important to you, to be honest, rather than the worth of the transfer. So I'm gonna say no. Sion Fuchs says, done a -4 ready for Salah and Isak for Saka and Kane. Do I go -8 for Grealish now for Fernandez, as I don't see him being fit for 34, and I'll do it next week anyway as part of a -4 to get Trent? Depends who your first sub is, to be honest. I wouldn't expect Grealish to go mad against Arsenal. Attacking return possible, yeah, sure. But it's got to be justifiable over the 4, isn't it? And actually, it's over what's justifiable over who your first sub is essentially what you're taking the hit for. So consider that. Obviously, don't know who your first sub is. I'm going to say probably not based on that, but again, I don't know who your first sub would be coming into the team. If you've got a right ropey bench, then I'd be very, very tempted to do it. Otherwise, it's a no. Talking of which, I can see the hearts coming up on the chat. That's around about 10% of you have smashed the like button. Where's the other 90% of you? Doesn't cost anything, guys. Come on. Owen Walsh says, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Wildcard 33. Trent and Cher or Robbo and Trippier? Cheers. I mean, there's every chance Cher won't play at Everton. I would think he's got to be a doubt, and he does have niggling injuries around him. So I'm probably going to say the Trippier-Robertson route. Yeah, probably Trippier-Robertson. Work says, hi, James. Fernandes and Ferguson out for Martial and March, or McAllister from -4. Bench cover is 2 Brentford defenders. I would not buy McAllister at this moment. March, fine. I think the Brighton guys will play tomorrow night, generally. The star in the FPL ones. But we don't know what the recovery is like from 120 minutes that they won't be used to, right? McAllister will be more than most who played for Argentina in the World Cup, right? Bench cover is 2 Brentford defenders. Yeah, I'd probably do it. March over McAllister though, mate. Ethan Justin says, hello, mate. On wildcard this week, who's the best pick for a striker to rival Watkins for 33 and 35? Or is it not worth the risk? Legend. For 33 and 35. Could be in Sisso at Brighton. That's a cheeky one for you. 33 and 35. I'd love to tell you if there was a Southampton one we could go to. Bournemouth and Forest. There isn't. So, no. Isak is the... I was going to say Isak. You didn't even ask Isak. You said Watkins. No, I still think Watkins probably best at that. Fulham and Wolves. But Isak, Everton and actually Arsenal at home. Particularly if Saliba's not back. He's the one. It's going to be really popular, Alexander Isak. Although, just a note on him, and I discussed this on the pod yesterday, that I think there's a fair chance he won't start on Sunday against Southampton in 34. I wouldn't doubt that he starts at Everton. But recovery, his injury issues previously, do Newcastle want to take a risk with him? I don't know. I think there's a fair chance he wouldn't start at home to Southampton. So just bear that in mind to your thinking. He's not the sort of player you'd want to bench if you own, though. Ethan Justin. That's what we've done. Austin Lady says, hi James, start Botman or Chilwell this week? Chilwell, attack him. To be honest, I get any question like that, because I haven't predicted anyone for a clean sheet, I'm going to say the offensive player. Zaris says, do you think Fernandes will play? If you have to choose one to play, will it be Fernandes or Grealish? Look, I'm not a doctor or a physio or whatever. There were reports on Sunday that he had heavy icing around his shin area, I think, after the game, when he came off in extra time, which at the time felt really unusual actually. So my instinct would be, I mean, do they need to risk him? It's more important they have him at the end, don't they, for the, make sure they finish fourth, which they probably will, and obviously for the final against City, rather than risk him being worse. So my instinct would be they probably won't risk him. Sabitzer plays instead, can they still beat Tottenham? Yep, definitely. Thank you to the 18 or so percent who've now smashed a like. Come on, where's the rest of you? Sweet Blues says, Ian and James plan to do Kane to Isak next week as a way of freeing up funds. Should it be done this week, or better to roll and wait for more info? Harry's Harry, right? Don't doubt Harry. That's what I always say. I think if it's a free transfer, I'd probably do it, to be honest, because I wouldn't see Harry hauling. Whereas Isak is capable more because of the opponent, right? So probably do it. But I think generally speaking, most bits of advice I should give is, if in doubt, roll the transfer. And consider what I said about Isak maybe for 34, that you might want to sit there and go, actually, I don't want to make this move yet. I want to go for Jota or Martial instead, or something like that, just hypothetically. Maybe Ferguson's back fit for Brighton. It might be different ones. What if Haaland got injured? Mind you, you'd probably just go Haaland to Alvarez, wouldn't you? But yeah, maybe the information is close enough. Although I think it's worth it, the extra information might be quite useful for you. FTLOL podcast says, afternoon James, just short of budget going James to Trent. Would have Henry off the bench. Is it better to go Robertson, VVD, or wait a week to make the Trent move to get him in for a -4? Listen, Brentford defence at Chelsea looks ugly, and I recognise that I've just said someone else take -4 because I've got Brentford defenders on the bench. But how many goals have Chelsea scored under Lampard so far? Was it one deflected goal from Gallagher? So let's not pretend that Brentford, who are a stodgy team to beat, and don't like Chelsea, it's a massive game for them. Can they keep a clean sheet? Yeah, sure. That's why I've got Henry third on the bench. No, but seriously, I probably wouldn't be taking a hit for a defender this week, I think, unless it enabled. So an example of that would be, I don't know, you wanted to find the money to go from Fernandes to Salah, and doing it meant getting a cheaper defender, you know, a Chilwell to a Botman or something like that, then I'd say, yeah, sure, fine. But otherwise, probably wouldn't bother. MG Beckett says, hi James, do you think I should get Haaland instead of Kane for free, or get Haaland and Mitoma in for Tony and Maddison for -4? Free hit next game week. I wouldn't bother rushing the Mitoma then, therefore. I think Maddison will probably play, so just a Haaland. J-Max says, hi, Saka, Watkins to KDB and Ferguson if chasing mini-league. I mean, do you need Ferguson to play? He's not going to play tomorrow night. But I understand he could be very useful for you in the longer term. But therefore, what makes that better this week? Because it's another player, rather than KDB and Ferguson, it's another player who's going to play with KDB in your team, therefore. And I think with Watkins at home to Fulham, not this week, mate. One more, maybe. Hasselbank's win says, who should Man United sign as centre forward, Tony or Osimhen? Oh, I think Tony would be good for United. But Osimhen is extremely good. Extremely good. Would be an amazing signing for them. Not that Tony would be a bad one. Osimhen would be my answer. Nigel Sam says, good evening James and good luck. Which is the City mid to get out of Grealish, Foden and Mahrez? I still think it's Grealish. Brighton defender of Duncan Estupiñán. Also, would you take a -4 for Brighton defence over playing Botman Burn? No, I would take the hit. I'd say Estupiñán over Dunk. Dunk's always going to play, but when did Estupiñán not last play, right? Probably got to put that one to bed. So I think Estupiñán would attack -4. Nah, just play Botman Burn. Everton are weak offensively, right? Forest have only failed to score at home twice this season. Admittedly, one of them was the last game against Manchester United. I wouldn't take a hit. Miana says, hello James, Saka and Aki/Zinchenko to Rashford and Trent from -4 or roll. Thanks for the help and the tip of Isak last week. Like the stream, it is free. Yes, like the stream, it's free. Thank you. That's close. For free, it's a yes. From -4, I really do think Saka could return tomorrow night. Aki, though, is probably almost definitely going to need binning, isn't it? And you don't want to play Zinchenko away to City anyway, do you? I think you'll feel better about your life if you get it done. There you go. Mainly minimal. Do you think there will be a good reaction from Spurs? Cheers, boss. Nope. I think there has to be. Will there be? How long's a piece of string, mate? I don't know. United are better than us. There's no point lying or doubting us. So Tottenham are not going to lose 6-1 on Thursday, I don't think. Let's say that this week. But will it be good enough to get a result? We can't defend, mate. We can't. I think we'll go back to a back three. But I don't think there's a guarantee in that. Bart Spilliers says, Saka, Kane to Salah, Isak, -4. Good move, but benching headache. Isak, March, Grealish, lean towards March, bench or false. Yes and yes. FPL Lighthouse says, hi James, on wildcard next week, so 1 week punt time. Best 1 week punts to replace Saka or White. Thanks for the great content. I mean, if you haven't got Rashford, that's the one for Saka. Midfielders, not so great. I don't think I would. 1 week punt for a defender feels shite, doesn't it? To replace White, maybe like Estupiñán's probably the best of it. Maybe. You might already have. I wouldn't want to play White, that's a certainty. So if you're in that position, then I'd move him on. Brighton would probably be first call, then Newcastle, but you don't want to punt like Botmans and Burns, so you want something a little bit more exciting. Cole will compete at Southampton. There you go. Chim says, good evening, James. Who would you bench out? Shaw, Botman and Shaw, as well as Bruno, Grealish, Tony. I would play Bruno over Tony, but I don't think he'll play. Grealish would definitely play. Shaw, Botman and Shaw, that's a shame. Look, I've picked Botman over Shaw. Tropical says, play Fernandes or Rico Henry. Fernandes, mate. It's probably not going to matter. Matthew Liffick says, Kane and Saka to Haaland and Grealish from -4. I can't argue that one, mate. JHSUFC, hi James, is it worth -8 to take out James, Maddison, Solanke for Rashford, Konate, Isak or Jota? Konate's a doubt, it's worth saying. Unless we get some information in the next hour on the travelling party. Klopp said today that Konate was a doubt, so you don't want to hit that in if you need it this week. Certainly not. It's not like Maddison and Solanke got bad fixtures, is it? No from me, mate. Triple Trapped In says, who would you prioritise bringing in for the rest of the season? Trent, Trippier, Shaw, Estupinan. For me, probably still Trippier, because he's great coverage even when teams have got doubles. So he's got Southampton at home in 34, Leicester at home in 37. It's great. So still Trippier for me. I know everyone else has got, but yeah, still Trip. So you're definitely going to want him for 36. Definitely. So still Trippier from that for me. My homie says, hi James, what do you think of Jacob Murphy as a 1 week punt? Wildcard 34. I didn't go for IU in the end. I went Joel Linton because of you. Well, I hope you smashed a like. Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, it would be very surprising if he didn't start again. I think there's always a danger with him that he could be, if they're doing badly, like a 45 minutes and comes off. Almiron's obviously fit now, so you're probably looking at a top end of about 70 minutes. But for his price, 1 week punt, yeah, I don't hate that. That's fine. I mean, I wouldn't go and invest in him because I think eventually Almiron will get a spot back there. But 1 week, you should be fine. Prabnor says, hello James, bench one out of Botman. Chilwell, I'd play Chilwell this week, the offensive. They're always going to be the offensive player when I get those questions at the moment. The exception maybe being Shaw, because I think he probably plays centre-back. Jay says, good evening James, I have a dilemma on the bench but can only play one of Shaw, Estupinan or Botman. I have Trippier and Trent playing as well as the enabler Solanke. Suggestions, Estupinan. Zaris says, play Kepa and Chilwell or De Gea and Chilwell. I think probability-wise there is greater chance for Chelsea clean sheet than United, being serious. So I'd play Kepa. GP says, who is the best goalkeeper for Gameweek 34 free hit? Good question. I'm going to rule out Alisson because I think you probably want 3 outfield Liverpool players. It brings Ederson in. I hate it, but I can't even say that I won't end up with him because it's just a pain in the arse for City defenders. But I think I'd still rather punt an outfield player. Free hit. Probably Steele. You're gonna go 3 Brighton, 3 Man City, 3 Man United, and 3 Liverpool, presumably, right? If you're free hitting. Like, I think for most people like me, the likes of Trippier and Tony in my case, Isak, if we think he's going to start, great for 34 with the singles. But if I was free hitting, I discussed this yesterday. If I was free hitting, I think we did it on our Q&A on Patreon. If I was free hitting 11 doublers, no doubt, I wouldn't be having the likes of Trippier and Tony if I was free hitting on 34. I'd go for doublers. So it's got to be a keep with a double, right? By default, maybe the right answer is Ederson. Fucking hate that though. Jesus. Tropical says Saka or Fernandes to Salah from -4. Fernandes. With the caveat that you might be going Saka to Fernandes at the weekend if Fernandes is available. Nigel Sam says, is Chilwell to Trent from -4 worth it? I'm going to say no. Frankie says, James, I'm second in my mini league. Is it time to start going different? For example, top as Trent. Do I get him? How many points, mate? If you're 150 points behind, doesn't matter, does it? If you're 10 points behind, it's just one different captaincy. So you don't need to be different. So the margin there is particularly important. Remember, we got 3 weeks left with double game weeks. if you can plan properly, does that give you an advantage? So depends on the difference, really. If it's huge, sort of 40 plus, then maybe, yeah. Could Robertson outscore him? Could Van Dijk? Yeah, sure. It's over a small period, right? But if it's less than that, I probably wouldn't. If you want Trent, I'd still go Trent. Ben Edinson says, afternoon, mate. Just finished working time. Thoughts on Martinelli to Mitoma? Logistically makes sense with the additional fixtures, but Martinelli is on fire right now. Yeah, I don't think I'd make that move this week. And if you still want to make it going into 34, then do it. I'd probably just leave it be. Martinelli's very capable of returning this week. Zaris says, which is the best transfer to make in each position this game week? In goal, Steele, despite the risk, as long as you've got another goalkeeper. So, like, if I went Steele now, I'd go Steele to Raya and keep Kepa. And no, okay, Kepa away to Arsenal's not great, but for the other game weeks, it's okay, actually. They obviously have a double in 37, it's rough, but yeah, I'd do it that way, I think. Although, if I was doing it now, if you look at Raya at home to Forest at the weekend, maybe I wouldn't, in case that decision was wrong. It's a transfer I may well be making at the weekend, so I'll have the information whether Steele's playing or not. Obviously, if he doesn't play tomorrow, I'm not going to get him. Defender, Trent. Midfielder, Mo. Up front, Isak. With the caveat that I think there's a fair chance he doesn't start on Sunday, game week 34. Just a dad posting stuff. Evening all. Roll for me. Roll the boat. Good luck. Thank you very much to the approaching 20% of it. Like, we've gone up from about 18% to 19%. Doesn't cost anything, guys. It's a free stream. Sean says, hi James. No FPL question is unrolling this week. Do you think an earlier FA Cup final kickoff will be sanctioned this time given the fixture and date? Yeah, I expect it to kick off at 4:45. They're in talks, I think, to move the Derby, the Epsom Derby, forward from 4:30 to 4. Prabnor Singh says, bench one of Tony, McAllister, Grealish, March. McAllister, even though I'm not, because I'm going double Chelsea defence this week, which is insanity in itself, right? But that's how I think I'm best set up with what I've got in my team. If you don't have any Chelsea defence, then it's definite bench McAllister for me. JFPL says, are any of Alisson, Edison or Pope worth bringing in for Kepa? Would be a -4. Don't take -4 for keepers, mate, in a single game week. It's a no, mate. Sam Jones says, Bruno to Salah for free or roll. I've done it for free, so I can only advise the same, right? Brian says, hi James, worth a -4 to go from Kane to Isak or Jota? Not for a hit, mate. The Palms 9 says, James, you're a legend. Read it, feel it. Drink it in. Dave Lister says, Rashford in. Come on, Dave. Just buy him. Yeah, great. Buy him. Shahid Hussain says, hi, James. Should I do Tony to Isak for free this week or wait until next week? Also fancy Chilwell to Trent for -4, but that can wait until next week and I'll play Botman this week. Thank you. If you make it beyond this week with Tony, I'm going to sell Tony instead of Forest at home when I keep saying there's a chance that Isak might not start. So maybe it's later. And in 35, Isak's got Arsenal when Tony's got Liverpool. But yeah, I wouldn't rush it. Put it this way, I was going to roll this week till I was concerned about Fernandes, and I would not have gone Tony to Isak this week. I want Tony on Saturday in game week 34. Is going to be a super differential for me, as long as it'd probably be sod's law, wouldn't it? He's gone all this time without getting that booking. He'll get injured tonight probably now. Not tonight, tomorrow night. Tiffy Ferreira says, why are you in Loco Lord League 1 and Suj in Loco Lord League 3? You'd have to ask Dan Lord, mate. FPL El Hadari says, good afternoon. Thank you again for all your hard work. Roll my one transfer, or Saka to Rashford, or Saka to Rashford and Chilwell to Robertson -4, or Tony Solanke and Chilwell to Trent -4. So roll, mate. Kartik Rao says, roll or Kane, Bruno, Aki out for Salah, Trent, Greenwood for -8. I love it. Roll or -8. Beautiful. Can you go Ferguson instead of Greenwood, Kartik? Just consider that. Or Enciso. I know that might not give you the best third Brighton, but just consider that. I'm actually going to say yes. Yeah. Because if Aki and Bruno are both out, you're basically going, can Salah and Trent, are Salah and Trent going to outscore Kane by more than 8? It's close, that. Because I don't think they're going to go off. So if Trent's a 2-pointer, nah. Actually, no. The more I think about it, Kaik, it's no, to be honest. No. But also, you're going to want some cover, right? If no Bruno, no Aki. So, I'd consider getting Aki right down to a cheap, maybe. Nathan Jacobson says, I'm on wildcard this week, then bench boost next week. Should I bench Leno or De Gea? I think Leno's a great choice, by the way. I'd play De Gea, I think. Notorious Nerd, no clean sheet predicted this week. Yes. Wasn't done intentionally. I treat every game on its own individual merits. I don't go, oh my God, I haven't predicted a clean sheet yet. I better predict one. Look at every game on its individual merits, and that's what I ended up with. So it's not a statement thing. It's not something I intended to do to say this is going to be a mad game week. That's just how individually I've ended up predicting every game. Ben Eddington wasn't on free hit last week and sold March for Andreas. Do you think March is worth the hit and additional money to get him back in? For a hit? No. Not considering we don't have the fatigue impacts from Sunday. No. Wavy says, blimey, what's the clean sheet, Sat James? Wasn't done intentionally. Damian Rosowski says, which teams will qualify for Championship playoffs? Luton and Middlesbrough qualified. I think Sunderland are going to sneak in now. I watched quite a bit of the game against West Brom on Sunday. So Sunderland probably going to get in now. And maybe Coventry? Coventry? Wouldn't rule Millwall out. There's loads of teams involved in that, isn't there? I think Sunderland would be one. Let me say Sunderland, Coventry. There you go. Who's next? Pushcart says, best forward to buy, money no issue. Thinking of Jota over Watkins. Look, if you're building towards 34 and the doubles, then you are inclined to look at a Jota. All I'd say is this. Jota will probably start tomorrow night. There's no reason not to think so. Does he start Tottenham and Fulham in 34? Well, it's got to be doubtful. Now, admittedly, they're both good fixtures anyway. But I'd just consider that and check yourself and say, am I buying for the right reason? Like, is Isak a better choice? And if you just still decide Jota, fine. I've already said Isak could be a one-pointer at the weekend, isn't it? So I think if it was me in that position, it's dependent, because if it was me, I'd arguably not start Isak at the weekend. So it might be dependent on that. You're obviously, if you get Jota, you're obviously definitely going to start him in a double, aren't you? So I think Jota's probably the right answer. Heather says, hi James, start De Gea or Johnston? That's a close one. Johnston. Yeah, why not? Damien Rosowski says, has Sudra yourself ever scored a scorpion kick goal like Pablo Fornals for Bournemouth? Yeah, I scored a scorpion goal. Well, I chested it up first as well when I was, how old was I? 4? I think 4. Dad might have been holding on to me at the time. No, definitely not Damien. Scott Dunkley says, Chilwell, Kane and Saka out for Salah, Trent and Jota for a -8 or wait for more info. That's a wait for me, mate. Just a dad posting stuff. Bruno Toe. Lewis Barton says, hey James, just want to say thanks for your content, very much appreciated. You're very welcome, mate. Thank you. Start which two of Isak, Jota or Grealish? Thanks and good luck. The two forwards, mate. Josh Jota over Grealish. Isak a definite for me, mate. Josh Tellin says, hey James, is Bruno Tony to Salah Greenwood third bench worth a -4 this week, or just roll transfer and play Bruno, and if he doesn't play, have Tony auto sub? Yeah, again, look, I think if you've got no Chelsea defence where it's conflicting, then I'd just do that, mate. Roseanne Fleur says, I'm 41 points ahead of my nearest rival in the £5,000 mini league. What tactic should I use to win it? I'm nervous, please help. Get more points than your opponents. Notorious Nerd says, what will Ryan Mason do different than previous interim manager? I think we'll try and play a bit more freedom, a little bit more expression. Will it be better? I mean, Stellini was worse than Conte, right? So the chance of the managerial bounce has died. There isn't going to be a managerial bounce on this. The fixtures are too difficult. I think we'll probably try and be a bit more expressive. I think we'll probably try and press off the ball a little bit more, but I don't know if we're capable of doing it, to be totally honest. One thing I just said on the team news stream I did with the advanced tier patrons, I have a sneaky that Richarlison will play tomorrow for that exact reason. And that's just a wild guess. The answer is we don't know, mate. Hayley Beck says, would you do Martinelli to Rashford for -4? Love the content. Probably not, no. That said, you'd absolutely know you want to get him, don't you? Absolutely know it's not in question. If you don't make that move now, you're doing it at the weekend. But I think if you can do it for free at the weekend, that's probably the right answer. Paul Spencer 007 says, hey James, for this game week only, Jota or Isak. We'll get the other one next week. Thanks. Isak, mate, look at the captaincy picks on the screen. Wavy says, blimey, where's the predicted clean sheets at, James? Bloomer, I don't care about cups, mate, but I mass respect to FPL TV. Greg Williams says, love the stream, James. Play Saka or either Willock Botman. It says Willow. I presume that's meant to be Willock. Yeah, Saka, mate. Alan Cronin says, evening, James. Thoughts on a -4 to swap either Odegaard or Saka for Mitoma. Any thoughts? Good luck this game week and on Thursday night. -4 to swap either Odegaard or Saka. Nah. Wouldn't bother, mate. Just wouldn't bother. Take an Arsenal attacker out. Let's not sit here and pretend that, like, you know, Arsenal and City can't be 3-3, for example. Do we think it's going to be a shit 0-0? Like, I can't see it, to be honest. Genuinely can't see it. Okay, thanks for that, Danny. So just it won't impact too many of you, but it will probably help. Sam Martin, who's obviously very well connected with Leicester, says, he said on Twitter, he says, believe Maddison has travelled with the squad and lined up to start tonight. It's not surprising. He only missed out on the weekend through illness, but good news if you're a Maddison owner. Ben Edinson says, is the thoughts behind Kepa over Johnson just that you think Kepa is more likely to get bonus points? Probably home fixture, to be honest, Ben. If you prefer Johnston, it's fine. Stephen Moore says, hi James, who'd start from Raya and De Gea and March or Grealish? So probably De Gea over Raya, definitely Grealish over March for me. Owen Jones says, I've gone Isak, Haaland for Tony Kane. What's the best out there capo choices, James? I'm chasing the Haaland is to go to the rivals. Well, top captaincy picks, mate. We're on the screen, mate. A running order from top to bottom, mate. So there's a few differentials for you if you're looking for one. Boza says, hi, mate. Hope all is well. Out of these four, which three would you start? Maddison, Saka, Darwin, Isak. That would have been much easier if you just said who to bench. I don't think Nunes starts. Unfortunately, that's the one. Buonanotte is a great player, by the way. Who do you think he'll replace? Cheers, mate. It's probably going to be him and Enciso probably going to be the highest two. And I think McAllister will probably play deeper, but could easily be that Enciso doesn't start. He obviously had a major role to play at the weekend against United, and he's a young player. But I think McAllister will probably play deep, and he'll play the two kids up top. He's not bothered, deserve. He won't judge by age. Ben Costin says, hi mate, who Wolf? I don't know, who's Wolf? Woo! No, who's Wolf? Owen Jones, random question, are there any current stadiums in the Premier League you haven't been to? No, I've done them all, mate. He says, I think, yeah, even Bournemouth. I can never get a ticket, but I've seen Tottenham in two friendlies at Bournemouth back in the noughties, actually. Includes seeing a Sergei Rebrov goal at Bournemouth. So no, I've done them all now. I think it's only 4 in the Championship. Maybe I've not done now. Joseph Robinson says, James, do you remember a few weeks back a little dicky bird whispered to you not to stress as the backside was about to fall out of Arsenal? You wouldn't have a word of it. I won't have a word of it now, mate. Zoe Izzard says, evening James, should I bench Martial, Grealish or March? That's rough, but probably March. WW, Spurs losing at home? Question. Yeah, mate, if you sat next to me when we played Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago, you'd understand that prediction. Ben Costin says, hi mate, who would you bench out of Saka, Martinelli or Solanke? Personally, Solanke. JP says, lol, as a Chelsea fan, I can't see us scoring. I hear you. I know Chelsea fans are going to say that. GP says, do you think benching players because they're playing against each other in your own team actually benefits your overall FPL position across the season? I'd have no idea. I'd have to research it, and I can't be asked. George says, Saka and Kane to Salah and Isak or Tony for -4, or just roll and do it next week. Cheers. I think Salah and Isak's proving a very popular move, and there's some justification to do that. That'll be popular. That might just work out for you, Salah and Isak. And That would be the play, I think. DJ Music Ace is brave call to say Chelsea will score 2. As a Chelsea fan, I'd say it's as locked as a clean sheet comes. So you're telling me I should start Rico Henry, right? Now, look, I think Chelsea have had a week to prepare for this. I think they'll be a little bit more open. I think we should consider that in Lampard's games so far, that he's played Madrid twice on a brilliant Brighton team, right? And I think there'll be a determination from the Chelsea fans with what most of them will deem as positive news this week with the Pochettino rumoured incoming. So I think the vibe might be a bit better this week. So I'm going to back Chelsea to win. I have. Amber Redmond says bench one of Watkins Grealish. Jesus, Amber. The right answer to that is find a different solution. Is the right answer. But if I had to, it'd be Grealish. Sheila says, which combo would you prefer? Rashford, Diaz and Stones. Grealish, Robertson, Akanji / Shaw. Losing the will to live looking at that, to be totally honest. I'm going to say the Rashford option because he's the most important one of all those players, I think. Pratik says, hi James, great pod. Martial, Max and Chilwell can play only one. Please suggest. Max? Who's Max? McAllister? Can only play Martial. I'm going to have to say play Martial. Lewis says, hey James, thanks for the content. Very much appreciated. Start 2 of Isak, Jota or Grealish. Currently Grealish on bench. Yeah, you've got that just about right, I think. Joshua says, Kane and Fernandes, Isak, Salah -4. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Patrick Flanagan says, what's your thought process behind Botman over Shaw on benching dilemmas if you think we should favour attacking defenders this week? Also, would you play Saka over McAllister or March or neither? The theory behind that is, as I said, I think Shaw will play centre-back. And therefore, Botman's a bigger threat from set pieces than Shaw. That's it. Now, admittedly, Shaw could take a few of those. But even the fact that I think he might play centre-back could even have a little bit of an impact on that. So, that's why. Would I play Saka over McAllister or March or neither? Yeah, I'd play Saka over both, mate. Daniel Evans, Kane or Rashford? Question. Rashford, but I don't know what the question is. Al Hassan says start Martinelli or Mitoma. I'd go Mitoma for that in terms of a start. I just think Mitoma's got more explosiveness than the other Brighton attackers. Like March will chip away great. Mitoma, it feels like he could suddenly just drop a 14, 15 pointer up. With that fixture, yeah, I'd want to play him. Up against Nico Williams, Jesus. Yeah, Mitoma, mate. Devanch says, hey, I already have Jota. Should I get Salah for -8? Are you selling, mate? Great. Just a dad posting stuff says, watch the Twitter video of United training. No sign of Bruno. Thank you for reminding me to post the podcast. Cheers. That should go out straight after deadline. As said, 6:30 PM Premier UK time. It's in about 43 minutes. Myself and Clayton Fernandez from the AFC Bite Size podcast discussing the Manchester City and Arsenal combined 11. There's a link in the bio as well that will take you straight there when this stream ends. KRiz95 says Kane and Saka to Isak and Salah -4. Bored of that, yeah. Jay Barker says who starts in goal for Chelsea, United and Spurs first game of next season? Christ almighty Lord. David Raya for all of them. David Raya will start for one of those 3 teams next season. Let me say that. I don't know which one, though. I don't know which one. I think there'll be some interest in Mike Mannion from AC Milan from one of those teams as well. There's another shout for you. Luke McCauley says, is it time to just say Mitoma is the best Brighton mid, or do you think he's still a good option? Yeah, he's the best Brighton mid. Stevie J10 says, hi James, what do you think of Bruno to any mid below 8.5? Already have Rashford, Grealish, Mitoma, Salah, and Sam Greenwood to Isak -4. Yeah, so you've I feel like do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Gundogan, mate. Yeah, I think that's the sort of setup where the opportunity's landed to get a player as a differential that most other people will not consider at the moment. I would go for Gundog in that situation. Thomas Baker says, hi James, would you transfer in Trent for Zinchenko or Roll? Would be playing Rico Henry if Rolling cheers him. If you can do it for free, I'd do it, mate. And I'm not saying that bit at the end. Ben Douglas says, Bruno transfer out this week or Roll and do the moves at the weekend. Bruno and Kane, Salah and Isak. I think I'd probably do it, mate. Subliminal Punker says, hey James, sell Saka or Fernandes for Grealish, have 2 times Brighton mids and Rashford too. I think at the moment, without the status, it's a bin Fernandes, mate. And if you have to play Saka at the weekend at home to Chelsea, it's okay. Notorious Nerd, any risk of Wilson starting ahead at Isak this game week? I think there's a massive one in 34. But I cannot believe that Isak won't start on Thursday, personally. Be very, very surprised. Form's too good. Too good. Karim Tommy says, what do you think about selling Kane for Isak? Fine, mate. Luke McCauley says, is it time to just say Mitoma? Yeah, I've done that, mate. GP says, which free City would you prioritise on a 34 free hit? Assume budget is no issue. That might come down to Fernandes' availability. So I think that certainly I would be Salah, Rashford, Grealish, Mitoma. To be honest with you, I'd probably go March. So for me, it would be Haaland, Grealish and Laporte, I think, personally. Demetrius G, reason for Salah so low on the captaincy picks. I think Liverpool draw 1-1. There's other teams I think will score more goals. 3 for City, 2 for Villa, 3 for United, 3 for Newcastle. That's why, if you think Salah's the best choice, do it, mate. I think West Ham been good lately. They're stingy as. They've recovered from that Newcastle beating quite well. Ant TJ says, hi James, non-FPL question. Going back to the game review video yesterday, who is the person you said jumping around every time Newcastle scored and stamped his boots? Just curious as I couldn't hear it clearly. What? I told a story about a friend of mine who wanted to have a fight with someone in a pub, and he sat down and took his shoes off and then had the fight. Is that what you're referring to? Otherwise, I'm not sure what you're referring to, mate. John says, hi, James. Play one of Odegaard, Botman or Pereira. Thanks. Odegaard, mate. Abby says, bench one of Saka, Martinelli or Grealish. Extremely reluctantly, Martinelli. And TJ says, thanks, James. You're welcome. Bozo says, I could do Maddison and Darwin out and put Buonanotte and Haaland in for -8 thoughts. Don't get the kid in, mate. That really could be a waste of a Brighton spot, mate. And TJ says, thanks, James. Good luck for the game week. You're welcome. Rank and Spank. Why do you think West Ham Liverpool 1-1 will be low scoring game? It's West Ham's third game in 6 days. Also the oldest team on average in the league. Okay, cool. DM me when I'm wrong. I won't care. That's my prediction, mate. Aishwarya. Liverpool had 0.4 open play XG against Forest. Great. West Ham will defend deep. Aishwarya says, planning to play free hit in 34. That way I need to use my free transfer. Who would you remove? Me or Zinchenko? I have 1.5 in the bank for whom? What's more useful to you for the rest of the season? Arguably Zinchenko is, so I'd been me. Frankie says, James, is Mac 10 to Mitoma a sideways move at this point? Could use the free transfer elsewhere. If you've got the luxury to do it, sure, great. But unless it's really a luxury, nah. I think to make that move now, I'd have to be sitting there this week. Maybe in 34 it will feel better. But I think to make that move now, I'd have to be sitting there with 2 free transfers and not sure what to do. That's when you're at the luxury stage. Shriniket says, Ian Asher is a 1-week punt replacing Kane this week. It's possible. There's worse things you could do. I think it'll probably start, but the word is obviously that Vardy's probably available. So I think he probably plays in a position similar to where he played on Saturday, which might be a bit deeper. I can't recommend him. I'd love to, but I don't think I could take the chance and recommend it. Mr. Dyer says, just realised I still have my bench boost. Like, how do you forget that? As it did not activate in game week 29. What do you think about this for a bench boost? Steele, Isak or Tony Grealish, Palace defender? No, mate, listen, just look ahead at 35, 36 and 37. You'll find way better solutions there without even trying. Patrick Lawson said, would you rather start Kepa or Neto this week? Kepa for me. Shantanu says, hi James, which 2 sub 5 million keeper would you go for in a wild card? On a wild card, personally, I would go Steele and Leno. Andy Max says, hi James, benching headache, need to bench one of Trent, Chilwell, Stupin and Trippier, help. God. That is fucking rough. Oh God. Jesus, it's Stupin. God almighty. Alistair Hargreaves, Kane out. That's a proper benching headache. Nice one. Alistair Hargreaves says, Kane out -4 to get Salah. Do I drop it to Greenwood given no bench boost left? Yeah, of course you won't need that. It's gonna be benching headaches every week going forward for most of us. So would I do that for a -4? Not based on my predictions, no. But I think in principle the move is okay. Paul Spencer 007 Stephen James, would you start Diaz or Botman? Ooh. Probably Botman, you know. Andy Max says, would you start Mahrez over McAllister given Brighton could be leggy after FA Cup? Cheers and good luck, mate. No, I wouldn't, because I don't think Mahrez will start. I think Bernardo will play. And I've thought about that quite a bit over the last couple of days. I think Bernardo will probably play. I'd be very surprised. Although McAllister may play deeper, he's still going to be on some set pieces and pens. I'd be surprised if he didn't play. So I'd probably still go McAllister. Though Mahrez obviously is capable of the haul in him. Jesus says Raya or Kepa. Have a look at my team. It's on screen, mate. De Gim says, hello, James. Elise versus Chilwell versus Andreas. What's this? The bench one, mate. From that, probably Elise. Everson versus Kepa. I'd play Kepa. Free Perserver. Hi, James. Hope you're well. Yeah, I am. I hope you are too. Amber says bench one of Grealish, Watkins and March. Help. Amber, you're on a wind-up, aren't you? March from that, mate. Ben Eddington says, until end of the season, Martinelli and Mitoma, or Mitoma and March. Mitoma and March. Hanny says, hi James, Mahrez or Gundogan for the rest of the season? Gundogan. Dion says, will Bruno start, and if not, will he come on? I doubt he's a sub. He'll have a player, he won't, I think. Free Paterva says, who would you bench? Gakpo, Martinelli or Jesus? Got Gakpo on the bench at the moment. Yeah, probably. Nathan Jacobson says, if you're on wildcard this week and bench boost next week, would you keep Trippier or punt on the Fulham West Ham defender? Definitely keep Trippier. Definitely. It's a difference between saying if I was free hitting 34, I'd go 11 doublers. If I was wildcarding, definitely I'd keep him. Victor says, Botman versus Chilwell versus Estupinan. Start 2 only. Bench 1. Start the fullbacks, mate. Ahmed says, hi James, hope you're great. Starting Kepa, should I, in that case, bench Chilwell for Estupinan? Nah, go all in like me, mate. Jovan says, Forster or Everson? Claim your 1 pointer now, mate. It won't matter. God almighty. Forster. And I tell you, the only reason I say that, if Spurs did keep a clean sheet, he's more liable. Whereas I just don't, to make a number of saves, whereas I just don't think Everson is. Dagim says, great content as always. Cheers, you're very welcome. It's about 3 minutes to deadline, by the way, guys. Get yourselves locked in. Dan, I'm definitely not going to get through all these questions, by the way. Dan says, Bruno and Kane out for Salah, Martial -4. It's just slightly a no for me. Scott Park says, who to bench, Saka or Tony? Tony for me. Super Tiger, hi James, hope you and the family are well. Good luck this game with you too. Divesh says, Elise or McAllister, given McAllister probably plays a bit deeper role, but he's on penalties. But Elise plays higher up and more involved in goals. And Palace are playing Wolves, so McAllister for me. Alex Moore says, Saka and Trent or Salah and Chilwell for this week only. Salah, Chilwell. Dagim says, smash the like, people. Yeah, come on, guys. Come on. There's a few hundred of you who haven't. Shit, I've lost my space. Aaron says, who's to bench? Grealish or March? March. It's a benching dilemma thing on the screen. I kind of explain it every week. Aaron says, that's what I've just done. Tommy Moody, James, I hate to burst your bubble, but we, Brentford, literally couldn't care less about Chelsea in terms of rivalry and vice versa. Fair enough, mate. Ahmed Musa says, hi, James. It's definitely not bursting a bubble, mate. But the impression I've had from Brentford fans I've spoken to is that they don't really like Chelsea. I know it's probably not the bigger one, despite the size of Chelsea, because there's other clubs that you've played more often from West London who you dislike just as much, let's say. But right now, I think there's a dislike, right? Don't think Brentford fans don't want to beat Chelsea. I was hearing a lot about how amazing it was when Brentford won 4-1 at Stamford Bridge last year, right? Ahmed Musa says, hi James, do you think Isak might not start against Everton instead of Southampton? No, I cannot see any reason why he won't start against Everton. And if his recovery is good, he'll play against Southampton as well. But I think the short turnaround from Thursday night to Sunday afternoon, we should consider that 34 might be a problem for him. Sundance Kid says, hi James, thoughts on this please? Kane and Aki to Jota and Trent, already own Salah. Yeah, don't mind that. Christian Lindstrom, hi James, great show as always. Would you go Bowen to Rashford? I've had Bowen since 29. Yes, I would, mate. Suj might say no, though. Brandon Guerrero, what do you think about bringing in Rashford and Jota for a -4? Yeah, I think that's amazing, mate, but I've got no clue who you're selling, so I don't know how I can answer that question. Inner Brando says, hi, would you start Isak or Solanke? Come on, captaincy picks on screen's a really big giveaway here, mate. Patrick Cliver, hi mate, love the show. Start one from Shaw, Morris and Tony. Got Spurs defence and Chelsea defence. God. I think the right answer is Mahrez, but as I said, I've got an inkling he won't start. I think if that was me, that's so tough. I'd go Tony, mate. And you've got Chelsea defence, though. I'd go Mahrez. Because you've got Chelsea. If you didn't, I'd say Tony still. Rabbi says, is Stupinan versus Botman the fullback? Hisham, Jota in for Tony. Yeah, sure. As says, would you play Saka and Grealish over March, even with him at Forest? Yes. Patrick Clivert, sorry, got Brentford defence, not Spurs. That's not so much of a problem because you've not got a Chelsea attacker. Matthew Hall, start De Gea or Kepa? Kepa for me. Ahmed Musa, didn't you play for Leicester? Hi James, starting Kepa, bench Chilwell or Estupinan? I think I'd play Estupinan probably. No, would I? No, I'd play Chilwell, mate. Shub says bench one out of Grealish, Martinelli, Isak, Salah, March. Oh, I've said that 100 times. Deadline's here. Sorry, guys, to those who I didn't get to. Addy Tor's announcing it in the chat. Deadline gone. If you came just for the FPL stuff, smash a like, hit the sub button. We do have another stream for you at 6:30 p.m. today. Myself and Clayton Fernandez doing a Man City versus Arsenal combined best 11, and you'll all rage at it and you'll hate our choices, but we have a chat about it and try and give some logic behind the decisions. You don't have to agree, you just have to enjoy the show. That's at 6:30 p.m. There's a direct link to that in the bio of this stream. So should be back with me for the Sky Fantasy Football podcast tomorrow. Clash of Correspondents Thursdays, Man City versus West Ham. Johnny Pringle, Chris Stone. And we've got a game review for you again on Friday to talk through the midweek action. If anybody's got any non-FPL questions, now's the time to throw it in the chat or hang around and cover a few of them for you. If you'd like to support the show, www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Tomorrow we have Tottenham, which the patrons are very much looking forward to, the assassination of my football club, which is probably going to happen on that pod. On Thursday, we've got a quiz on AC and Inter Milan, actually ahead of the big Champions League semi-final next week. And we'll have our Gameweek 34 preview on Friday. The podcasts are available from intermediate tier. You can access our Slack channel from basic tier. There's additional video content at advanced tier, which include my preference for a Game Week 34 wildcard on Thursday and the team news stream on Friday afternoon, as there was one just before this stream for advanced tier patrons. Right, that's all the nonsense shit I think covered. So let's see what you've got non-FPL stuff. Sean says, hi James, honest prediction on the Man City treble, will it happen? As a Mancunian from the red side, I have the fear. Feels like it's in our hands, as well as Ancelotti's to stop it now. It does feel like it comes down to, obviously if they win tomorrow, they become huge favourites. They're obviously favourites already now. But if they win tomorrow, then they're massive odds on to go and win the title. They'll obviously be odds on to beat United in the final. Your best bet is Madrid as it stands currently. And Madrid in the Champions League, just shit happens, right? And I don't think it's the first time we'd have been in this situation. We talked about teams and trebles and stuff. Maybe because City have come behind in the title race this year, it's felt like more of a momentum thing. And maybe it was similar for United a little bit in 99, in the sense that United and Arsenal were quite neck and neck for a lot of the season. But I feel like you were probably behind earlier in the season. Maybe I might have that wrong. It's bloody nearly 25 years ago. So maybe it's become a thing very recently, maybe, and because they beat Bayern Munich and now they've caught up to Arsenal near enough. I think there's every chance it will happen. Every chance. Certainly you would have to think that against AC or Inter Milan in a final, they surely would do it this time. You would think. You really would make them huge favourites. United are obviously very capable of beating them in the cup final, and as are Arsenal still capable of stopping them from winning the title. So, but I still think the best chance of stopping it is probably Real Madrid, isn't it? I'm gonna say they won't do it. Something will happen. Badman says, "What's for dinner, big man?" I have not a clue, mate. No idea. I do have I think it's noodles, actually. I want to say. Sweet Blue says, I'm really disappointed with the people's selection in people's poll. Would have loved to have your picks between great players like Haaland, Henry, Aguero and Nicholas Bentner. Yeah, Bentner would have been in for sure, mate. Listen, we mentioned it on the pod a couple of times, but like, how would you have gone to pick a team? Like, if you only went one up front, you can't have Aguero unless you force Henry to left wing. And even just thinking about it, like, who would you pick as like the 10? Bergkamp, Silva, De Bruyne. I mean, Jesus, man. How do you even begin to get there? You don't even, people like Robin Van Persie wouldn't even come into the conversation near enough. Bloody hell. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't pick it. Clayton said, maybe we could do it on Patreon. I was like, yes, scrap that. It's too difficult. Shani Razzle says, content creator FPL edition, would you bench Sonaldo or Praz as or Mark Southerns? Well, I've got to back Praz because I've met him. He's a lovely bloke, and I know Sonaldo is as well, but I've not had the pleasure yet. That's tough because Az is in the 39 team and Mark's obviously the Forest correspondent, so that's really tough. No, I've got to stick with the correspondent, and I've got to. So Az is getting benched. Plus, I've seen his throw-ins. Scott Park says, "What are your thoughts on Wrexham, if you have any?" My thoughts, I don't really give a shit about it. Like, some people are really happy about it, some people aren't. I think it's a story that's little bit different. I much prefer it to some of these chancers coming in and taking over football clubs and running them into the ground. Like, they clearly have kind of fallen in love with their own concept and idea. And the club's heading in the right direction. A lot of it, I think, is jealousy. Yes, they can way outspend everybody else at that level, etc. But yeah, it's the same in our league. The top 5, 6, 7 spend more than the rest, right? So something's happened at that level. You know, what I would add is I think we all, as neutrals, would probably hope that Notts County come up via the playoffs. John Bailey says, hello, James. Good luck for the Gameweek Spurs question for you. Do we have to? What are the most important positions to buy for next season? What man do you think you'll end up with? Fuck, you know. Like, the team isn't gonna achieve anything if it doesn't buy a goalkeeper. It's almost the biggest priority. Whereas someone who's a good coach will be able to get something out of. I look at Dyer and Romero, and I think if they played for De Zerbi and played the way Brighton play, it could even work, for example. So if you get the right coach in, you don't need to do quite as much work. I said probably, I want to say, maybe when Nuno took over. It might have been the January after, when Conte was already in charge, that we needed 14 players. And we bought Bentancur and Kulusevski, and I said that we needed 12. And nothing that we bought last summer as yet has improved a thing. So we still need about 12 players. I would be quite content if every player left except Rodrigo Bentancur, mate. It's the only player that I'm that bothered about. Yes, that includes Kane. I just don't think Tottenham can play a modern style of football, which they need to do to be competitive. Harry Kane in the team. You're never going to replicate the goals. Do I want Tottenham to sell him? No, of course not. I want him to stay. But in my mind, I realised that Tottenham have got to find a new direction here. Maybe he's part of the problem. Because off the ball, can't do nothing from the front. Basically, the only players a counter-attacking team, and I think Harry Kane's part of that. I think, yeah, seriously. So I'm okay with it if he goes. Like, do I want him to? No. I've said this over nearly every deadline stream we talk about this. Of course I don't want him to go. I'd be gutted. I'd be upset when he goes. But I'd understand it. It might be the start of a new start. Yeah, we need... I mean, looking at it now, reflect back on those comments. So when we got Kulusevski, Bentancur, said we need 12. We don't need less than that now. Yeah, it's probably still about 12 players, mate. Lee Sherwood, top 3 single game week players for 34. Tony. I can't say Isak at this moment. If I think he starts, then Isak. Maybe Iheanacho. Let's see. Let's see what happens tonight if he plays. Chris Tellis says, if the top 6 clubs plus Newcastle were forced to make just one signing in the summer to improve their respective squads... Oh, great. I've lost the question. Which players should each of them prioritise? United need a forward. Let's start with that. City arguably want someone like Zinchenko. Arguably. I think because certain players that may leave City, they probably need something in the De Bruyne area. That's not saying De Bruyne's going to leave, but like Gundogan's and stuff might move on. Newcastle, I do think, need central midfield reinforcement. You even see like Longstaff missed out at Villa, and it's like, ooh, not great. So they need reinforcement there. Arsenal... Arsenal's more about depth, and I've spoken about this. I spoke about it a lot on our Patreon Q&A, I think, last week, that actually improving the team was probably going to be quite difficult for Arsenal, and they'd begin to find themselves in a position like Tottenham did under when they were really good under Pochettino. Like, how do you improve this 11? It's not even the best 11 if they don't win the league, but it's difficult to improve. That's tough. You start bringing in people like Declan Rice. Yeah, Rice instead of Xhaka, great. Now what about the rest? Improve that. Tough. So I think Arsenal's more about depth, and the drop-off is tough, though. It's tough to have someone like Rob Holding is competent, right? But it's clearly a drop-off from Saliba. And Tottenham used to have the same, you know. Vertonghen got injured, played Kevin Wimmer. Like, fucking hell. The drop-off's monumental, isn't it? And I think Arsenal need to narrow that up first. Obviously, getting Jorginho in's probably negated that problem with Partey so much if he was unavailable. Trying to think what would hurt Arsenal the most if it was missing. Arguably, it's Odegaard. So maybe, but Vieira will probably progress. He had a difficult night last Friday. It's more about the depth for Arsenal. For Tottenham, jeez, someone like Odegaard, I suppose, at least make my life enjoyable. Chelsea, can't spend any more. Chelsea need a striker, don't they? Fairly obvious. I think that's all of them covered. Liverpool midfield. Adi Tor said, would Kane fit Liverpool? I know it wouldn't happen. I've been just to hear your view, thanks. Liverpool would have to play differently, right? You only have to listen to Jurgen Klopp's comments, which he spoke about after the Leeds game. I think he let a little bit more go than he meant to, because he was really pleased. And he spoke a lot about counter-pressing again. And I go back to what I've just said about Tottenham. So if Harry Kane plays for Liverpool, will Harry Kane score a shitload of goals? Of course, Harry Kane scores a shitload of goals for Tottenham. But would Liverpool as a team be better? We've had this debate with Haaland most of the season, right? Are City actually better as a team when Haaland doesn't play? And it's probably cases for and against, right? You've got a superstar striker, and Harry Kane's a superstar striker as well. So if Harry Kane went to Liverpool, can he win a Golden Boot, for example? Yeah, subject to Haaland's fitness and stuff. But does it make Liverpool better in terms of getting them back into challenging for the title? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. So, does he fit? Probably not so much. Plus, Liverpool have he spoke about Núñez a lot as well, and expecting more next year. I'm not criticising him, but just expecting more next year. And I think Liverpool will get more next year from him. Tommy Moody says, don't get me wrong, would love to beat Chelsea as a derby, but QPR streaks ahead in terms of rivals due to history from the 60s. I get that. Listen, Tottenham fans dislike Chelsea, right? But it's the same thing. It's not the major game, right? Voyas says, what do you think about Poch going to Chelsea from someone who's followed the evolution of Poch's management career? Also, should he join Chelsea immediately rather than wait for the summer? I know I take on board Gary Mantle's opinion that he'd probably just be happy for Lampard just to finish the season because it doesn't matter. And Pochettino can kind of assess them from afar. Probably just fresh start, first day of pre-season is probably the right answer at this stage. It doesn't make a difference. Chelsea lose every game left. It doesn't matter. He'll win every game left. Doesn't matter, right? You're going to finish fine, to finish 8th, to finish 13th. They don't give a shit, right? So probably wait for the summer. He's probably right. Gives everybody time to accept and know what's going to happen. I do think if it happens, and it looks like it's going to, I do think, yes, it's a good appointment. I think those, certainly the patrons will know particularly, that I don't think he would have been a good appointment for Tottenham. But I think the makeup of the squad at Chelsea, the fact they've invested in so many young players, the fact that there may even be some restriction on the spending, I think he's absolutely the right fit for them at the right time. Will he take them to challenging for the title again? I think there'll need to be patience. You might find that it takes a good few months to get to the philosophy that is even identifiable. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea fans in October are going, what's this? Then it needs to come through, and that's about getting the players buying. And he'll have to get players out who don't want to be a part of it. And none of this stockpiling shit. Skim it down, get players out. The players who buy into it will do very well. He works very well with young players, it's well known. He certainly showed, particularly in the 16-17 and 17-18 seasons, that he can actually be far more adaptable with systems than given credit. I went to a game at Swansea in April 17 and he basically changed the system every 5-10 minutes between back 3 and back 4. Just literally changed it. On tap, was losing 1-0, just kept flipping it till we scored eventually. So he's got that in his locker. I think he's better tactically than people are aware. He's also got the experience now of managing some egos from his spell at Paris Saint-Germain, and I'm sure there'll be some egos at Chelsea. So I think he's got the right blend. I think he's a very good appointment for Chelsea. I'm surprised that it's happening, and it feels a weird one because obviously in the past Tottenham have taken many of Chelsea's cast-offs and failures. Pochettino obviously is not a Tottenham failure. I know, so he didn't win a trophy. I don't care, mate. He is not a failure at Tottenham. I think patience will be required, is what I'd say. It have to be. Like if Chelsea are 14th in October, like stick with it. I have to accept that if that's what it is. Shit to start with. He'll get there, but I don't know. It's almost impossible to say will he take them to like title challenges again. Fuck knows, right? Rob picks his second question. Good question, though, Voyas. Thank you. Rob picks his second question. Your well-informed prediction for Barnsley. 4th, 85 points, 9 home wins in a row versus Ipswich. 2nd, 91 points, unbeaten in forever for this evening. Draw. Super Tiger says, will you do a deep dive on Wrexham? They've marketed themselves very well considering they're doing what the class of 92 did without anyone really highlighting their spending. Possibly at some point, yeah. Shani Razzle says, you're a legend, very kind of you. Oh god, there's too many questions. I'm definitely ending this at 6:25, guys. If you've not put a question in, don't bother at this stage. Boza says, cheers mate for your help. You and Suj are the most approachable and friendly of all the content creators. Good luck with your Spurs. How do you feel about Poch going to Chelsea? I'm not that bothered, but I think as well most Tottenham fans want him back. I really don't think it would work. It's perfectly acceptable to think Pochettino's a good appointment for Chelsea, and it would be a bad idea for Tottenham right now. That's genuinely how I feel. There's way too much to do at Tottenham. The investment Chelsea have already done in young players, Poch just needs to find the gems that he wants to keep and be a part of it. Tottenham needs fucking overhauling everything. And there's still players there who let him down. Dyer, Kane, Loris, etc. There's others. I just don't think it'd be what people think it'd be. And biggest problem's midfield. I've spoken about this a lot. Tottenham's Pochettino without Moussa Dembele was shit. Chelsea, in the likes of Enzo Fernandez and Kovacic, have good midfield players. Rodrigo Bentancur is a very good player for Tottenham. Is he at the elite level yet? To dominate a game like a Dembele? No. I think Enzo Fernandez can be that player. And I really like Kovacic. So I think there's more tools there for him to immediately work with. Emotionally, I'm bothered, like I said, not in the same way. Like if he went to Arsenal, I'd be fucking devastated. But I'm not that bothered about. I dislike Chelsea, like I dislike West Ham, but it's not the biggest thing to me. And he couldn't have given enough hints to Tottenham over the last couple of months. Come back. He would have come back to Tottenham. Definitely would have come back and taken the job. What's he meant to do? Wait forever? His family lives in London. It's perfectly acceptable that he wanted to come back. And I wouldn't be surprised if he still ends up managing Tottenham again in the future. I wouldn't be surprised. So, in a weird way, I wish him well. Like, not that well, because essentially a competitive rival, I guess, as well as the London rivalry. But I'm not... I don't know what he's meant to do. Like, he's fucking been whoring himself out on Instagram to Tottenham, say, come and get me. You just look through his feed. And Tottenham decides to go in a different direction. What's he going to do? Just keep waiting forever when his family lives here and stuff and he wants to work. Nah, I've got no anger or resentment to him at all. None at all. Love the bloke. I'll love him a little less, but no anger towards him. Yo says, who do you think will finish top 6 this season? City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester United, Brighton and Liverpool. Aston Villa Bozzy says, all the Spurs defenders should have a Dyer on their shirt. Yeah. Boza says, I just saw that someone asked you about Poch already. Yeah, it was a slightly different question though. Shani Rezel says, just signed up to Patreon. Yay! Can we all make sure we drop a like to show James some love? Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated, mate. I'll have a message to you on I was going to say the Bird app. It's not on Patreon shortly, so you can get in Slack and stuff, mate. Thank you. Leo Michaels and Jackson says, hey, great content. When is there a fest meeting in London this summer? I have no idea. I think they're planning to do Friday before the season starts again. It was like August the 8th or something. I'm not sure. I generally don't know. Chances are I won't be there because it'll probably be a Friday night game and I'll probably be doing a deadline stream. Shani Razzle says, if you could only listen to one content creator for the rest of the time, who would it be? Me. I know it sounds terrible, but I do the editing of the audios and stuff, right? So if I can't listen to myself editing the audio, I'm fucked, aren't I? So not that I do massive editing, but cutting in the intro and stuff like that. So I have to say me is the honest answer. The audio for the Man City Arsenal podcast is now available, by the way, if people want to listen to that rather than watch it at the end of the stream, or if you wanted to disappear now. But it's 45 minutes long, so you'll be able to take it in before, obviously, the 7:30 kickoffs. That's part of the idea of the release time. A little bit of chill out after the deadline. Neil Thompson wants to give Shani Razzle a welcome aboard. Leo says Andy Slippers. I mean, love Andy. Everyone knows I love Andy. He was superb when he guested on the pod a couple of weeks ago. Shani says, cheers, Neil. Been a sub on here for years. It was about time I joined, to be honest. Could listen to James chat about 44 hours, especially when so Spurs doing shit. Yeah, well, you'll enjoy Tottenham tomorrow, mate. I don't doubt it. Alistair Hargreaves says, who's going down in the Championship? Not confident as a Reading fan. It was a massive result for QPR at the weekend, wasn't it? Blackpool, Wigan and toss a coin for the rest, I think. Jay Barker says, who wins the league sooner out of Liverpool and United? It's going to take a while for both now, I think. Oh, excuse me. That was involuntary. Cut it, edit that out. Who wins the league sooner, Liverpool or United? Oh, God. Liverpool. Yeah. Owen Walsh, cheers, James. Great show as always. FPL Big Licks. Good luck, James. Good luck, all. Tommy Moody says, looking forward to Leeds Leicester game. I am actually, yeah. That's certainly the one I'll be watching tonight. So, yes, I am looking forward to that actually. Right, I'm going to go now. That's it. I've done the questions. Yeah, definitely needed an edit. I'm trying to do two things at once. You know what I'm like. I'm trying to tweet out the bloody podcast and talk to you guys at the same time. So I'm going to leave. Love you all. Enjoy the game. Remember, it's 3 days long. Watch some football. And if you only want the FPL stuff, COTC Thursday. And so should be back for the game review with me on Friday. Take care, everyone. Thanks as always. Smash a like. Ciao for now.